I mean, Meghan is an agent of poison. She actually is able to destroy relationships. And when she
And I do think the Sussexes are suddenly finding great problems about establishing.
she would get all the attention. I mean, the Harry walk up the hill with William that just showed.
Picture this moment: a father preparing to publicly disown his son, a king ready to exile a prince, and a monarchy about to make the most ruthless decision in its modern history. This isn't medieval England. This is happening right now behind the gilded walls of Buckingham Palace, where King Charles is reportedly preparing to do what no British monarch has done in generations: completely sever Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from the royal family forever. Tom Bower just revealed something that changes everything we thought we knew about this royal crisis. At 85 years old, this isn't some tabloid gossiper spreading rumors for clicks. This is one of Britain's most respected royal biographers, a man who's spent decades inside palace circles. And what he's saying should terrify Harry and Meghan to their core. Charles isn't just angry anymore. He's strategic, he's methodical, and according to Bauer, he's preparing a two-step plan that would strip away everything that makes Harry and Meghan relevant in this world. But to understand why a father would consider such a devastating move against his own son, you need to know the shocking truth about what really happened behind palace walls. Because Meghan Markle's entrance into the royal family wasn't what it seemed. It was never meant to last. Here's what nobody's talking about. Meghan never intended to stay in Britain. From the very beginning, becoming a duchess was nothing more than what she privately called her stepping stone to something bigger. She walked down that aisle at Windsor Castle with millions watching, wearing that stunning Jean gown, knowing she was already planning her exit. Think about that for a moment. While the world celebrated a fairy tale wedding, while the Queen welcomed her with open arms, while Britain embraced their new Duchess, Meghan was already calculating how long she needed to stay before she could leave with maximum impact and profit. But the real shock came when Meghan discovered something that apparently nobody had explained to her before the wedding. Harry wasn't actually in line to become king. William and his children stood between Harry and the throne. This meant Meghan could never be queen. The woman who married into one of the world's most famous royal families didn't even understand how royal succession worked. She genuinely believed that marrying a prince put her on a direct path to the crown. When reality hit, everything changed. Suddenly, the glamorous life she'd imagined, standing beside King Harry, wearing the crown jewels, being the star of the global monarchy, evaporated into thin air. She was destined to forever be the supporting actress in someone else's story. Kate would be queen. Charlotte would be a princess royal. And Meghan? She'd always be the duchess who married the spare. Tom Bower reveals this frustration went deeper than mere disappointment. It became rage because in Meghan's mind, she was the one with star power. She was the one who'd conquered Hollywood. She was the one bringing modernity and relevance to a dusty old institution. Why should she play second fiddle to Kate, who'd done nothing more than marry the right brother? The living situation at Kensington Palace became the breaking point that pushed Meghan over the edge, and when you hear the details, you will understand why she felt the way she did. Harry and Meghan were given 2 bedrooms. That was their grand royal apartment at Kensington Palace, a modest flat that felt more like staff quarters than a ducal residence. But here's what made it unbearable for Meghan. Right across the corridor, literally footsteps away, William and Kate were living in a 22-room apartment. 22 rooms with 2 full kitchens, gymnasium facilities, multiple reception rooms, staff quarters. Every single day, Meghan would walk past Kate's palace, within a palace, to get to her cramped quarters. Every morning, she'd hear the bustle of William and Kate's large staff, while she and Harry made do with minimal help. Every evening, she'd return to her 2 bedrooms, knowing that just yards away, her sister-in-law was living like a future queen. Imagine the humiliation, the constant reminder of her position in the hierarchy, the daily slap in the face that said, "You're not important enough for the good rooms." But it wasn't just about rooms, it was about money. Meghan discovered that Harry didn't have the fortune she'd assumed came with being a prince. There was no massive trust fund, no unlimited royal credit card. Harry was essentially living on an allowance from his father, an allowance that seemed generous to most people, but was pocket change compared to what Meghan had envisioned for her royal life. She'd given up her acting career, her independence, her life in North America, for what? To live in servant quarters on a prince's allowance while watching Kate prepare to become queen. This wasn't the deal she thought she'd signed up for. Tom Bower's investigation reveals that this is when Meghan began plotting her revenge. If she couldn't be the star of the monarchy, she'd become its most famous critic. If she couldn't have the crown, she'd try to damage it beyond repair. The strategy was brilliant in its simplicity. Use insider knowledge to maximum effect. Deploy accusations that couldn't be easily disproven. Target the monarchy's weakest points, its relevance in modern societies, and most importantly, monetize every single revelation. The racism allegations weren't random. They were calculated to cause maximum damage in America, the Caribbean, and across Africa. These are regions where the monarchy desperately needs support, where Commonwealth ties are already fragile. One accusation of racist conversations about Archie's skin color did more damage than decades of Republican campaigns in these territories. Think about the timing of every revelation. The Oprah interview came when Prince Philip was done. The Netflix documentary dropped during the royal family's first Christmas without the Queen. Every bombshell seems perfectly timed to hit when the palace is most vulnerable, least able to respond effectively. But the most shocking deception came during the Queen's funeral. This is where Harry and Meghan showed their true nature. According to Tom Bower, they arrived in London playing the perfect grieving grandchildren. The cameras captured them looking somber, respectful, even tearful at moments. They walked among the crowds, comforting mourners, accepting condolences. For those few days, they transformed back into the beloved royal couple the world had fallen in love with. The royal family, broken by grief and desperate for reconciliation, saw this as a chance for healing. William extended olive branches. Charles tried to bridge the gap. Kate attempted conversations. Everyone hoped that shared grief over the Queen's passing might finally bring the family back together. But Bower reveals the chilling truth. Harry and Meghan had no intention of reconciling. They were there for the optics, for the photographs that would legitimize their future projects, for the insider access to private family moments that could later be monetized in books and documentaries. While other royals were mourning their grandmother and monarch, Harry and Meghan were allegedly taking mental notes, observing interactions, recording conversations, gathering material for their next revelation. They turned the Queen's funeral into a research opportunity. Even more disturbing, they reportedly used the funeral to test their power, to see how the public would react to their presence, to gauge whether they still had support despite everything they'd done. It was a calculated public relations exercise disguised as family grief. Palace insiders told Bauer that during private family moments, Harry and Meghan remained cold and distant. They attended the minimum required events. They spoke only when necessary. Their body language screamed that this was performance, not genuine emotion. When the funeral ended and they flew back to California, they'd gotten exactly what they came for. Photographs showing them as grieving family members, footage of them among the royal family, evidence that they still belonged, even after everything they'd said. But King Charles had seen enough. The funeral deception was the final straw that convinced him his son and daughter-in-law would never stop their assault on the monarchy. They would never choose family over fame. They would never put duty before dollars. This is where Tom Bauer's revelation becomes truly explosive. Charles isn't just considering punishment, he's planning complete annihilation of Meghan's royal connection. Step one would be stripping their titles, not just removing their HRH status, which already happened, but completely eliminating their Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles. Harry would remain a prince by birth. That can't be changed. But Meghan would lose everything. No more Duchess, no more royal connection. She'd go back to being Meghan Markle, former cable TV actress. Think about what this means for their brand. Their Netflix deals are built on being the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Their Spotify contracts, their speaking engagements, their entire commercial value depends on those titles. Remove them and what's left? A prince without a duchy and an actress without a career. But step two is even more devastating. Tom Bauer believes Charles is prepared to make a public announcement that would shake the monarchy to its core, a formal declaration that Harry and Meghan are no longer members of the royal family in any capacity. Complete disownment. Total exile. This wouldn't be quiet removal from duties. This would be public execution of their royal status. Charles would essentially tell the world that his own son is no longer recognized as part of the Windsor family. No monarch has done this in modern times. The implications are staggering. It would create two categories of royalty: those who serve the crown and those who've been expelled from it. Harry would join the shameful list of royals who've been completely cast out. Constitutional experts are reportedly being consulted. Legal advisors are reviewing precedents. This isn't emotional reaction anymore. This is institutional surgery to remove a cancer before it destroys the entire body. But here's why Charles believes he has to act now. Every day he waits, Harry and Meghan grow bolder. Their accusations escalate. Their demands increase. Their attacks become more vicious. They've shown they won't stop until someone stops them. The Commonwealth realms are watching. Several nations are already considering removing the British monarch as head of state. Harry and Meghan's racism allegations have given ammunition to every Republican movement. If Charles doesn't act decisively, he could lose not just family peace, but entire nations from the Commonwealth. The timing is crucial. Harry and Meghan are at their weakest point. Spotify has essentially fired them for being grifters who didn't deliver content. Netflix is reportedly frustrated with their lack of production. Their popularity in both Britain and America has plummeted. Public opinion has shifted against them. This is Charles's moment, when the world might actually support a father cutting off his son. When people might understand that sometimes protecting an institution means sacrificing family bonds, but the consequences for Harry and Meghan would be catastrophic. Their entire business model depends on being royal rebels. Remove the royal part, and they're just rebels without a cause. Or more accurately, they're just another celebrity couple trying to stay relevant in an oversaturated market. Meghan's acting career wasn't exactly stellar. Before Harry, she was a supporting actress on a cable show that most people had never heard of. Without her Duchess title, she goes back to being a D-list actress approaching middle age in Hollywood. That's not a profitable position. Harry's situation is even worse. He has no marketable skills outside of being a prince, no education that matters, no career experience, no business acumen. He's a man in his 40s whose only achievement is being born into the right family. Take away that family connection, and what's left? Tom Bower's analysis is brutal, but accurate. Harry and Meghan have spent years sawing at the very branch they're sitting on. They've attacked the institution that gives them value while depending on it for their income. Now that branch is about to break, and the fall will be devastating. Their California mansion, their lifestyle, their entire existence depends on money from Netflix and Spotify deals that only existed because of their royal connection. Without those titles, without that association, the deals disappear. The speaking engagements dry up. The book advances vanish. They'd be left with whatever money they've managed to save, trying to maintain a multi-million-dollar lifestyle on rapidly diminishing resources. How long before they're forced to downsize? How long before the Hollywood elite lose interest in ex-royals with no actual royal connection? But there's something even more troubling that Tom Bower uncovered. Sources close to the palace suggest Harry and Meghan know this is coming. They can feel Charles preparing to strike, and they're allegedly planning their own nuclear option in response. There are rumors of more books, more documentaries, more revelations that could damage the monarchy beyond repair. They still have insider knowledge. They still have private conversations recorded in their memories. They still have ammunition for mutually assured destruction. This is why the situation is so dangerous. It's become a high-stakes game of chicken between a king and his son. Who will blink first? Who will pull the trigger? Who will survive the explosion? Charles faces the most agonizing decision of his life. Does he protect the monarchy by destroying his son's future, or does he protect his son while watching the monarchy crumble under constant attack? The clock is ticking. Every day that passes without action emboldens Harry and Meghan. Every interview they give chips away at royal prestige. Every accusation they make weakens the crown's global standing. Tom Bower warns that this isn't just about Charles's reign anymore. This is about whether the British monarchy survives into the next generation. If Charles doesn't act, William will inherit a damaged, possibly irrelevant institution. George might grow up to be king of nothing but ceremony and tourism. The Commonwealth realms are already restless. Australia regularly debates becoming a republic. Caribbean nations are moving toward independence. African countries question why they should maintain ties to a monarchy accused of racism. Harry and Meghan have given every anti-monarchist movement the ammunition they've been waiting for. But if Charles does act, If he strips the titles and disowns his son, he'll go down in history as the king who chose crown over family, the king who publicly executed his own son's royal future, the king who proved the monarchy is more ruthless than anyone imagined. There's no good option here, only degrees of damage, only choosing which wounds the monarchy can better survive. As Tom Bower reveals, the decision might already be made. Palace sources suggest Charles has moved from if to when. The machinery is in motion. The constitutional experts have been consulted. The statement might already be drafted, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. That moment could come any day now, when Harry and Meghan least expect it, when they're most vulnerable, when the public would most understand why a father had to make such a terrible choice. The irony is staggering. Harry and Meghan set out to modernize the monarchy, to make it relevant for a new generation. Instead, they might have triggered its most medieval moment in centuries, a public casting out, a royal excommunication, a family execution played out on the global stage. The British monarchy has survived wars, scandals, abdications, and revolutions, but it's never faced a threat quite like this. An inside attack from family members who know exactly where to strike for maximum damage. King Charles stands at a crossroads that will define not just his reign, but the entire future of the British crown. The boy he once held in his arms, the son he walked behind Diana's coffin with, the prince he tried to protect from the media's glare, that same son now forces him to make an impossible choice. Love or duty, family or crown, personal pain or institutional survival. Tom Bower's investigation suggests the choice has already been made. The crown will win, the institution will survive, and Harry and Meghan will pay the ultimate price for their betrayal. But until that announcement comes, until Charles makes his move public, the royal family remains in limbo, waiting for the storm to break, preparing for the explosion that will reshape the monarchy forever. Every royal engagement, every public appearance, every official statement now carries the weight of this pending decision. The palace staff know it's coming. The working royals are bracing for impact. The world is watching for signs of the final break. And somewhere in their Montecito mansion, Harry and Meghan must wake up every morning wondering if today is the day their royal connection dies forever. If today is when the titles disappear. If today is when they discover what life really looks like without the royal safety net they've spent years attacking. The countdown has begun. The decision is coming. And when it does, the British monarchy will never be the same again. What we're witnessing isn't just a family feud. It's the potential end of Harry and Meghan as we know them. It's the transformation of a prince into an exile. It's the reduction of a duchess to a nobody. Most importantly, it's a warning to anyone who thinks they can attack the monarchy from within and survive. Charles is about to show the world that the crown protects itself, no matter the personal cost. The next chapter in this royal drama will be written in tears, anger, and irreversible consequences. And according to Tom Bower, that chapter is about to begin.